All right, good morning, and thank you all for joining us for this news conference. Throughout my time in office, my administration has made public safety our #1 priority. And maintaining our city's low crime rate contributes to our ability to build a vibrant quality of life for all Lincoln residents. And public safety is a cornerstone of our vision of leading Lincoln towards a more successful, secure, and shared future. The men and women of the Lincoln Police Department work tirelessly and successfully to ensure our city is safe and secure. Violent crime year to date is down 5% over the previous year, and it's down more than 12% over the past 5-year average. And excellent results like these are part of why we live in a community where trust in law enforcement is high. In LPD's most recent quality service audit, 76% of our residents who had interactions with officers describe those interactions as either outstanding or above average, the second highest percentage of the past 10 years. And to support our LPD team and the excellent service that they provide to our community, we are committed to ensuring a fair and equitable workplace environment for our entire police department team. An essential part of supporting LPD's success is thoroughly responding to concerns and maintaining a culture of excellence that's free from discrimination and harassment. So to demonstrate and advance the values that the city places on serving with excellence, ensuring a safe workplace for all, and providing transparency in all we do, I commissioned an independent and thorough assessment of LPD's workplace experience. And this workplace assessment was performed by 21st Century Policing Solutions, a well-respected national firm comprised of veteran police chiefs, justice scholars, and civil rights lawyers. Now, as part of 21CP's assessment, every LPD employee had the opportunity to complete an anonymous survey about their experiences and perspectives on the operations of the department. The perspectives of all our law enforcement professionals have been key to ensuring that we have a comprehensive workplace assessment and an effective, well-informed pathway forward. We're here today to share the results of that assessment. We have received the final report from 21CP, and we appreciate its careful and thorough recommendations, as well as the candid responses from our officers and civilian employees and department leadership who shaped those recommendations. And while the report draws attention to areas where our department excels, it also points out areas where there is room to improve workplace processes. And to speak more about the entire assessment, I'd like to now invite Kathy O'Toole and Catherine Olson with 21st Century Policing Solutions to share more details about their organization and to summarize key points from the report. They're joining us by Zoom, and I will turn it over to Kathy and Catherine.
Thank you very much, Mayor. We really appreciate this opportunity to participate, and we've appreciated the opportunity to engage with city officials and members of the Lincoln Police Department over the past year. Just a little bit about 21CP Solutions. It was founded by Chuck Ramsey. Chuck rose through the ranks of policing in Chicago, but then went to be the police chief in Washington, D.C., and later the police commissioner in Philadelphia. He was asked by President Obama to chair the president's 21st Century Task Force on Policing, and they issued a report that developed several recommendations for policing across the country. Chuck was so committed to that work that when he left Philadelphia, he decided to take the show on the road and to try to make contributions to departments across the country. So when I finished my role as chief of police in Seattle, Chuck asked me to join the team. So as you mentioned, we have several former police chiefs, we have civil rights lawyers, we have community engagement specialists. I mean, a real vast array of people. We have Catherine Olson, who's with me on the phone today, who spent a good deal of her time working on police accountability issues. Just a little bit about myself. I rose through the ranks of policing in Boston and eventually had the privilege of serving as Massachusetts Secretary of Public Safety and Boston Police Commissioner. As I already alluded to the fact that I served as police chief out in Seattle, Washington for 4 years as we were implementing the requirements of the federal consent decree there. Catherine, maybe I'd ask you to just give a brief overview of your career.
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you, Madam Mayor. I have been started my career as an employment lawyer, employment litigation, doing employment discrimination litigation for nearly 20 years before I was asked to go inside the Seattle Police Department as a civilian and overhead basically their internal affairs department. Since working there, I have been doing consulting, some of it with 21CP across the country around a variety of issues to improve policing and improve police organizations. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, I would say that my most relevant experience when we're doing this type of project is my experience as a beat cop and one who rose through the ranks, because I've realized throughout my career that the people who usually understand the challenges the best and the people who have the best solutions to those challenges are the people working on the front lines. So we engaged with them a lot in this process, as well as the professional staff in the Lincoln Police Department. We certainly value their perspectives equally. So I'll just quickly give an overview of our project and start with the fact that the assessment was initiated by the mayor. It was a collaborative process from start to finish. We engaged a lot with city officials, with police department leadership, but also across all levels of sworn and professional staff representing a very wide variety of perspectives. We started with a survey as a foundation for our further engagement. We wanted to identify the hot button issues, the things that were really on people's minds. We used as a foundation document, we used a survey that's been developed by the 30 by 30 organization, which is an organization dedicated to increasing the percentage of women in policing to 30% by 2030. They gave us permission to use their survey document. We had to tweak that a bit for a few reasons. First of all, we wanted it to be, the survey to be accessible to all members of the organization, regardless of gender, and also we wanted it to be available to professional staff. So we tweaked it in order to accommodate that so that everybody would have an opportunity to participate. Our goal is to provide everybody who wanted a voice in the process to have a voice in the process. But the survey document was only the foundation for that. Next, we held many focus groups, and we did focus groups both remotely and in person. Catherine and another member of our team, Denisha Martin, went to Lincoln and actually engaged with people on the ground there, conducted some focus groups, did ride-alongs, and had the opportunity to meet some people firsthand, which was very helpful as well. We also made it clear to everybody we engaged with that if there were people who didn't feel comfortable coming into a focus group environment, or even if they didn't feel comfortable filling out the survey, we were available to meet with them individually. And we held several individual meetings and heard from people in both sworn and professional capacity during those meetings as well. So much of what we heard through the surveys, through the focus groups, through the individual meetings was similar to concerns we've heard in other agencies recently. For instance, recruitment and hiring challenges are being seen across the country. The report that we produced discusses the impacts of being short-staffed, the frequent turnover, how it's really impacting individuals in the way they do their jobs and also in their personal lives as well. We heard lots of stories about mandatory overtime, about increased caseloads, low morale, and that again, those messages were somewhat similar to the challenges we've seen elsewhere. We're pleased to see that LPD and the city is taking steps to address some of these hiring challenges. And we were particularly pleased to see that the council recently approved salary increases that will result now in LPD officers being the highest paid in the state. We think that will go a long way to addressing some of the concerns around morale and also some of the recruitment challenges. Although we weren't retained to evaluate the individual claims alleging sexual harassment and other discrimination, we did hear from stakeholders on this issue who voiced a very wide range of perspectives, both in the survey documents and the focus groups. We also spoke to lots of people individually on this issue. There was particular polarization around this issue. Just to give you an example, to show some data, 47% of the sworn women in the organization who responded to our survey. Now that, again, the survey participation was incredible. It was far higher than we've seen in other organizations, but still, we're talking about 16 women, 40% of the sworn women who responded to the survey said that they had indeed encountered discrimination or harassment at the LPD. And then on the other hand, 53% of the sworn women who participated, 18 women, answered no, they haven't encountered any discrimination or harassment at the LPD. So we saw very significant polarization on that issue throughout the course of our work. You know, some people gave very real examples and expressed lots of concerns. Other people said they've never experienced it or never witnessed it. So that's going to be a significant challenge going forward. Approximately, as I said, 60 women in total. There are probably approximately 60 women in the organization, but a total of 34 responded to that particular question. I think this is going to be a big challenge for LPD leadership. I think that the challenge will be to accept that people bring different lived experiences and to the table, and that the organization really needs to support a culture of listening to those who, with whom we sometimes disagree, and show respect for differences of opinion. You know, believe me, I've been a chief in organizations where there is polarization from time to time, and that's the biggest challenge, you know, to respect a wide variety of opinions, but to come up with, you know, real solutions to address those cultural concerns. Other major issues that we identified in our discussions and in the survey, promotions. Promotions were seen by many as unfair and lacking transparency, both by sworn and professional staff. Again, I want to note another very positive first step in changing that perception. There were recently changes in the sergeant's exam process, and those changes in the sergeant's exam process were universally well received. People felt that there was more transparency, more fairness in that particular process. So again, we go to transparency, and we had lots of people calling out for greater efforts to address hiring and recruitment challenges, more transparency on that area, on top of the salary increases already approved by the council. And people were just saying that they really want to keep informed, you know, their hope that they can keep informed on the details as details emerge on some of these challenges going forward. All sworn and professional staff did say that they want more feedback when they don't get a promotion or they don't get a specialized position. You know, there was concern expressed about specialized positions, that there wasn't enough transparency in the process, therefore creating a perception that some of these positions were given to people, you know, based on favoritism and, you know, other factors. So that obviously has to be addressed as well. You know, I would say, again, just to wrap up, this is the 50,000 foot view of our report. But at the end of the day, communication and transparency will be key. There's definitely a need to push more information out to all staff, give individuals more feedback, and also demonstrate good listening skills and authentic engagement with people throughout the organization. So we also, you know, appreciate the fact that there's new leadership in place. Well, you know, it's relatively new leadership in place. And, you know, again, the majority of people emphasized hope that, you know, new leadership would bring the organization forward and address some of the issues that were on their minds. So thank you very much for listening. And Catherine, did I leave anything out here that you think we should highlight?
Thanks, Kathy. The one thing that I would point to, in addition to what Kathy had to say in summarizing the report findings, has to do with work-life balance that we heard from many people, the difficulty in managing that balance. And one of the areas discussed in the report has to do with parental leave and how important it is to have parental leave policies that support employees, both males and females. I understand that there was some change made recently in one of the contracts negotiated. The report will discuss other areas where there might be opportunities for change, again, to support the employees in that trying to work towards a difficult challenge with that work-life balance. Thank you.
Well, thank you both. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Catherine, for all the expertise and care that you brought to this project. We really appreciate that you and the organization and 21CP have done.
Produce this report for us. And you're right, we do have new leadership in place. I'm very confident in that leadership. Just over a year ago, Chief Teresa Ewens was sworn in as the first female police chief in the history of our city. And since then, she has taken important steps to support our existing LPD team members and help the department grow its ranks into the future, including things like naming a hiring and recruitment coordinator, initiating a continual application process, and modifying pension credits to attract more lateral hires into the department. And I really appreciate Chief Ewan's dedication to public service and her commitment to public safety. And now at this point, I'd like to invite her up to share more about the report and her plans to communicate and implement its findings. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all of you for being here today, and thank you, 21CP, for all your hard work. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Assistant Chief Michonne Morrow and Assistant City Attorney Tanya Peters. They worked very diligently to get everything 21CP needed, and they worked very long hours to accomplish that. To the members that participated in this process, thank you. This is your department, and your ongoing input is essential. To our community, you truly have a police department full of dedicated professionals who are committed to serving you at the highest level. This report represents that, as a city and organization, we welcome an assessment. This is clearly demonstrated by the level of participation from our staff. As I have previously said, law enforcement is at a crossroads of change in this country, and our department is not an exception. We strive for perfection, and at the same time understand perfection is a constant process and not simply a destination. Continuous improvement is crucial to modern law enforcement. We recognize that for many members of the public, a series of equal employment opportunity, known as EEO, complaints by members of the department are the highest concern. In conducting their assessment, 21CP heard from the department members, both sworn and civilian, current and former members. Specifically, 6 recommendations based on concerns surrounding EEO procedures, which was an area we had already noted for improvement. We're working to address the concerns of our members and are confident in our ability to handle them appropriately. The assessment of the department began shortly after I joined LPD, and upon reviewing the report, many recommendations have been implemented or are currently in progress. Some of these changes include an emphasis on recruitment, instituting a lieutenant class to provide additional leadership and opportunity to our members, pregnancy leave provisions, and recent salary increases that put LPD as the highest law enforcement agency in Nebraska. We're extremely grateful to the mayor and the city council for their leadership on this matter to show that our community values our team members. Some additional changes to the department that are currently in progress include the following. We are changing the selection process for specialized units. Education and Personnel Unit will be creating and administering each test. Each unit will be involved to identify the strengths and abilities to select the ideal candidate for these positions. This will provide transparency and fairness to the selection process. We are committed to the elimination of the perception that bias and favoritism exists in our promotional process. We have hired an outside organization to administer our promotional testing and will be overseen by the Education and Personnel Unit. We have had great success in recruiting the best and the brightest to become members of the department. The current recruit class is 40% women and members that come from diverse backgrounds, speaking Spanish, French, Arabic, and Pashto. The upcoming 2 classes in December and July are actively being recruited. We believe that we can achieve our goals by the first quarter of 2023. The first year after the implementation of LPD's modernized hiring process in July of 2021, applications increased by 74.6%. This was the first increase in applications LPD had since 2014. This report confirmed what we knew, that our community continues to be well served by a high-functioning, successful police department with a history of innovation and excellence. LPD is filled with dedicated, hard-working law enforcement professionals. As we set the stage for future success, we'll also lift up the vital and valued work of our LPD team members who provide outstanding service to our community every day. The report is now available on our website. We look forward to updating the public on our progress as we evaluate the recommendations and create actionable items with prioritization of each. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. Our Human Resources Department is also a key partner as we deliver on our commitment to ensuring a safe, fair, and equitable workplace environment for all city employees. And at this time, I'd like to invite Barb Mcintyre, our City of Lincoln and Lancaster County Human Resources Director, to come forward and just discuss a little more about what her department is doing to help us meet our objectives. Barb?
Thank you, Mayor. Where we work plays an undeniably large role in our personal well-being. So it's important that the city is committed to continuing to fortify our workplace culture and environment to ensure our employees feel comfortable, secure, and at ease when it comes to both our physical and emotional safety. We want the employees of the City of Lincoln to feel their best at work so they can do their best work and enhance the quality of lives for all our residents. In the short time I've been here in Human Resources, I've developed a strong working relationship with Chief Ewens in the police department and are committed to continuing to focus on building high levels of trust, support, strong communication, encouragement, and compassion, which are all hallmarks of a positive work environment. We have provided a confidential avenue for employees' voices to be heard through the implementation of a new equal opportunity complaint policy and process. Having people feel safe at work is a high priority, and we take these situations very seriously. Our employees are able to raise sensitive topics in a safe environment, which ensures that leadership receives honest and sometimes difficult feedback. Navigating these tricky situations in a fair, equitable, and respectful way is a sign of a workplace with a safe and positive environment. We've been continuing to work on identifying enhancements in HR to talent acquisitions, benefits, inclusion, work-life flexibility. All of this work is done in alignment with the city's values, which have been key to ensuring the city is an attractive destination for prospective job seekers. To support this, we have hired a diversity, equity, and inclusion manager. We've shortened the waiting period for new employees to receive their benefits. We've created a dedicated talent acquisition team in HR, and we've strengthened our sources of candidates through expanding our networking opportunities. One example of this is our career fair today from 3 to 7 p.m. at the Alt Pavilion at 1650 Memorial Drive in Antelope Park. At the fair, there'll be a number of positions highlighted for the city and county departments that currently have a multitude of openings. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Director Mcintyre, for your hard work, and to your team as well. And I hope that folks who are watching will consider attending that career fair and learn more about the benefits of a career in public service. We have meaningful work to do in our city. This is a great place to provide that kind of public service to our residents. And our LPD team does that. They deliver valuable public service every day as they worked hard to prevent and reduce crime, to foster meaningful relationships with the community. We have that community policing model that's so important. And they work to uphold the high standard of public safety that contributes to the quality of life that we enjoy here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Again, I want to express my gratitude to our LPD staff and leadership for your service and for your willingness to participate in the assessment to make the delivery of your services and the quality of our workplace even better. And I also want to extend my thanks to our city leadership team, and of course to the team at 21CP who contributed to the report we have highlighted today. And at this time, we would be happy to take your questions.
Probably for Chief, anything about this report that surprised you, or of the findings, what stuck out to you when reading through it?
You know what, I haven't gone line by line as of yet. I will tell you that we are going to do that, my command staff and myself, and create some actionable items. You know, the thing that stuck out is the inclusion that 21CP had with our members, and how much, 70% of the department participated, which is a huge amount, which I'm very impressed by, and I really thank them for that. But nothing has really stuck out. You know, when you come into a new organization, you do your own assessment of the organization. I understand the complaints, I understand the input from our members, which is ongoing. And so it's very important to understand that I understood the direction we needed to go. This confirmed what it is that we were feeling, but also brought some good other eyes to the conversation, which I truly appreciate that, because these are leaders in my profession, really, and so their input is essential.
Maybe, I don't know if they can.
Yes.
For Kathleen or Catherine, I guess, can you guys kind of detail the delay on this report? I think the initial contract had it finishing in May, and now it's September. I guess, was it just the increase in participation, that there was more data than you expected, or I guess what was behind that delay?
First of all, when we first began, it was prior to the chief's appointment, and I think we all agreed it was important to get new leadership on board and to establish a relationship with the chief and her team. So that was one factor, and I think we were just fairly deliberate about it. I mean, we wanted to keep momentum going, but we weren't in a rush to get this done. We wanted to get it done right, and we wanted to be certain that everybody had an opportunity to participate. In fact, it was just a couple weeks ago that I spoke again to another individual in a private conversation who wanted to weigh in and had some things to say. So I think in retrospect, while maybe some people were waiting for the report, or waiting for the release of the report, I think that the benefits of giving everybody time to participate, and then compiling all that data and trying to prepare a thoughtful report outweighed any disadvantages to delays that happen in the process. If you don't mind, one thing I did want to say, that everybody we talked to, even people who had significant concerns about the organization and some of the perceived discrimination issues, took great pride in the service that they had provided to the city of Lincoln. So we were really impressed by the quality and the commitment of the people we talked to. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that.
So is the city going to release, I guess, I don't know what's in the full report if I haven't seen it, but I guess in terms of the actual survey responses, is that a part of the report, or is that going to be available public?
Yeah, that is something that 21CP conducted. We don't have access. I would say that, we have to be somewhat careful, because we want to also keep in mind that this survey was confidential, and people answered the questions and participated based on that confidentiality. And so I wouldn't really want that to be put out because of that. But it was part of their process and an evaluation of our department. And so 21, I don't know if you guys have an answer for that as well, but I do think that the privacy portion and participation was critical in people agreeing to do it.
add to that, Chief?
Sure, please.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, we purposely wanted to keep the survey very anonymous, and we didn't want anybody to be concerned about being identified in the process. We didn't share any of the survey data with city representatives. They didn't have access to the survey tool, so they're only seeing the same thing that all of you are seeing, or the members of your community are seeing.
With the anonymity of the survey, if it was completely anonymous, and you have 47% of individuals who have Indeed or encountered discrimination.
Were they able to go into detail with that, or I guess how would the problem-solving aspect come subsequently for that if they weren't able to pinpoint who experienced it or how or what their story was?
So the 47% is 16 members. They expressed this in a direct question. The focus groups and the meetings, they were able to express themselves in what may have occurred. It was their choice to do that. But, we don't know if they may have experienced it. We don't know if they reported it. We don't know if it was already investigated. Some of those could be also already reported. So we definitely think that, or in my feeling, and again, I'll throw it to you, 21CP, that, I believe that people answer the question as honestly as possible, and that they are able to have their voice if they met with 21CP when they actually came here or in the focus groups.
Yes, in addition to straightforward questions, we also have open-ended questions that we let people answer, but we thought that anonymity was more important than detail. And also, I think I noted at the beginning that we use the survey document only to identify issues that we could later follow up on in interviews and focus groups.
I guess from kind of a data gathering process standpoint, I guess how did this work? I mean, were officers doing this at home on their own time? Did they have the opportunity to do it on their phone? Were they in classroom settings? How were they surveyed?
And we arranged to have the survey sent to all our members, both sworn and civilian, and they could do it anywhere that they wanted to.
So they weren't monitored or anything as they were?
They were not monitored. That's a key part of this, is to make sure that we get, honesty and no pressure, no stress on them. They should be able to answer the questions without, obviously, if they want to do it at home, they could do it at home. If they want to do it in their car, that's fine too. But we really wanted to make sure this was fair and as transparent, to be honest with you, as possible.
Mayor, you're
Chief, if I could just add for clarification.
Sure.
I'm sorry, nothing was sent out. The survey was not sent out to staff members, but rather they were provided access to the survey on a completely independent website, a platform that was outside of the city. So they could access it, as the chief said, anytime they wanted. But the survey wasn't sent back and forth between staff and 21CP. It was handled on a completely independent platform.
Do you guys have any information on the average completion time of the survey, or how in-depth it was, or how many questions?
I think you might have to speak up for them. Did you hear the?
Do you have any data information on the average completion time of this survey, or how in-depth it was?
Catherine, I still didn't grasp that question. Did you get that?
I'm sorry, I didn't either.
The question was, do you have any information about completion time of this survey, or how in-depth it was? Can you help describe how long it took people to complete it? Trying to understand the sort of scope and depth of the survey.
My recollection, I'd have to look it up for specifics, but my recollection is we told people it would probably take 10 or 15 minutes to complete it. Because there was an opportunity to respond to an open-ended question to provide information, beyond the specific survey questions. Some people might have taken much more time. Also, people could choose to not answer all of the questions, so they might complete the survey quicker than others who completed the full survey and responded to open-ended questions.
Mayor, you're the one that commissioned this survey, and that came on after several pretty public reports about the culture. I guess, are you satisfied with what you learned from this survey, and did any of it surprise you based off, I guess, what you'd previously understood about the department?
To kind of answer your question and a little bit of yours as well, I'm really pleased with what this report provides us with, because it's shaped and influenced and informed by the actual experiences of people in the department. Like we said, everyone had a chance to speak up, whether they took the survey or decided to participate in interviews and focus groups. And then with, trying to understand specifics, they've given us actionable recommendations that should provide systemic improvements in our workplace processes. So if people had complaints about promotion and the fairness of that, we've got actionable items about how to have feedback loops, to communicate and share information that will surely, based on the survey input, help people feel like they have had a fair understanding of not only opportunities to apply for promotions, but why they may have been chosen or not chosen. So I'm really pleased that we have ways to make systematic improvements and structural improvements in our processes that should address concerns that could be more specific. Okay. Any other questions? Right. Really appreciate your interest. We take this seriously. We're committed to continuous improvement. Public safety is our #1 priority, and this is going to advance our ability to deliver top-notch service to our residents. Thank you so much to 21CP for all you have done for us. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Barb, and thank you to the men and women of LPD and to our community. We are committed to serving you with excellence. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.